The storm has now arrived.
Hey up guys, the Song Boy 13 here. I've had your requests over the last couple of weeks, so today, finally getting this out for you. This video is generally about, does the UK expect a lot of snow? And are we expecting a snowy outlook this winter? So, we're going to go through all. So, as we know, the main theme is how often does it snow in the UK, and is this sort of thing is becoming more of a rarer phenomenon? Well, anyways, back in February and January, we have had some snowy interludes, you know, with temperatures mostly over what have been above average, but there was some colder interludes mixed in as well. We have had some ice mixed in at times throughout January and early February, but it wasn't. But it was more like isolated days rather than persistent. Some areas of the Highland could still expect to see more than 2 weeks worth of snow days in January, but in the main, snowfall has become less reliable throughout the UK over the past 50 years. So really, the main theme is heavy snow a thing of the past? While it does seem that the presence of snow in most of the UK is getting less common as time goes by, as due to global warming, this doesn't mean that there won't still be the occasional period of very heavy snowfall. Winter 2010 saw particularly thick coverage of the white stuff, with more than 50 centimetres of snow lying on the ground in some parts of the UK on the morning of December 2nd. So this is what it looked like from this image. Even some areas in the south of the country saw huge amounts of snowfall that day, with between 20 and 30 centimetres of snow on the ground in parts of Surrey and Sussex. This was a comparatively rare event, and we have to go back to the famous winter of 1985 to 86 to find something in similar proportions. February 1986, we know, was the coldest on record, with Ballamore in Scotland getting snow on 111 days over the winter period, the most since Met Office records began. So really, how often does it snow during the winter months? Perhaps the freakiest period of snow the UK has had came in June of 1975, when, despite it being summer, there were flurries of snow across the country, leading to the cancellation of several cricket matches. But anyways, yeah, so days of snowfall. Ballamore will get about just over 100 days of snowfall. Exeter, not as much, probably about as high as 30 plus days of snowfall between the early 80s, and Buxton, which I believe that is in Derbyshire, I think. The highest we'll get about is just over 60 days of snowfall, though that's mostly near the mountains. And Lake Vinery, I think that's how you pronounce it, can get about near 90 days of plus snowfall. But all of these were associated with the 80s, when we had that, particularly the mid-80s, when we've had one of the UK's coldest ever winter ever recorded. So the last decade was a mixed bag, really. So a long time ago, after a long run of mild winters lasting much of the 1990s and 2000s, a run of colder winters mainly happened around 2008 to 2009 and ended in 2012 to 2013. And ever since then, winters have mostly been mild, and at times exceptionally so. The last notably cold month was March 2013, when the mean UK temperature was 2.2 Celsius, which is just over 3 degrees Celsius below the average. And actually before that, December 2010 was the first ever calendar month since February 1986 to record a sub-zero Central England temperature. So basically, the average from whole of December 2010 was below 0 Celsius. Now, let's go through statistics. Near 10 years back, almost 10 years back, so 2008 to 2009, it was colder than average. The UK mean temperature was 3.2 degrees Celsius, which is half a degree below the average. 2009 to 2010 was much colder than average. The average mean temperature is 1.6 Celsius, which is 2.1 degrees below the average, and in many parts of the UK it was the coldest winter since 78-79. 2010 to 2011 was also colder than average, particularly December 2010. The UK mean temperature of winter was 2.4 degrees Celsius, which is again 1.3 degrees Celsius below average. However, though, the winter of 2011 to 2012 was actually milder than average, especially across around in December and January. The mean temperature of the UK for winter was 3.3 degrees Celsius, which is just 0.4 degrees below the average. And 2013-2014, it was much warmer than average. We've barely had any snowy days. The UK mean winter temperature was 5.2 degrees Celsius, which is 1.5 degrees Celsius above the average. And 2014-2015, closer to average winter. I mean, we have had a pretty mild December, near average January, and quite a cold February, so it's pretty been a very mixed winter. The UK mean winter temperature was 3.9 degrees Celsius, which is 0.2 degrees Celsius above the average. 2015 to 2016, it was very mild. It's probably the most noticeable, warmest winters on record, especially in December and around some of January and February at times, but it's also been a very wet one as well. The third warmest in the series from 1910, the UK mean temperature was 5.5 degrees, which is 1.8 degrees above the average. And last winter, 2016 to 2017, was also very mild. The UK mean temperature was 5 degrees, which is 1.3 degrees above the average. Yes, we had a few colder interludes across around in January and February, but again, it's been a pretty mild one. And recent climate made for us suggest that winter 2017-2018 will also be milder than average. But will it be true? So basically, at this early stage, there isn't a clear picture emerging from the long-range computer models. The publicly available data from the UK Met Office GLOSI model goes out to the end of December and strongly favours above average aggregate temperatures over the October, November and December period. The American Climate Forecast System is updated regularly, but on balance it has been suggesting another mild winter. Sorry guys, if that happens, little snow likely throughout the periods, although you may see the odd flurry. But instead, on the other hand, the Journalistic and International Research Institute for Climate and Society models show a different picture. The former indicates below average temperatures in the UK and most of the rest of Europe during the meteorological winter. The IRI model isn't showing a bias towards any one outcome in the UK, but it strongly favours anomalously mild weather in Greenland. That often means an increased likelihood of cold weather in Western Europe. So, the North Atlantic Oscillation. The NAO is essentially a measure of pressure patterns across the North Atlantic during the winters when a negative NAO develops, blocking areas of high pressure form at high latitude and displace the cold Arctic air down to mid-latitude locations such as the UK. The NAO influenced by sea surface temperatures in the North Atlantic, and a correlation between SSTs in late spring and the following winter has been established. This year it appears they favour close to neutral NAO this winter, which may suggest a possibility of colder periods. And as we know, for the quasi-Banach oscillation, the QBO index is determined by the strength and the direction of equatorial zonal winds in the tropical stratosphere. When the wind is in the westerly phase, we know the index is positive, and there is an easterly phase, it is negative. A correlation between the strength of the jet stream across the North Atlantic and a QBO has been identified. A negative easterly QBO favours a weaker jet stream, which in turn means a greater chance of cold spells during the winter months. The QBO has recently switched from positive to negative. The mean period of which phase is 20 or 29 months, so there's a good chance it's continuing through the winter. If that happens, it would be a factor supportive of a colder winter. And not long to go now. The El Nino Southern Oscillation, I'm guessing El Nino is going to be forming again soon. An El Nino takes place when SSTs in the Central East Pacific are anomalously warm and La Nina when they are colder than average. ENSO has an impact on global weather patterns, although the link to the UK is quite weak. A weak El Nino effect is believed to increase the chance of cold weather during the second half of the winter. Forecasting any ENSO conditions several months ahead is prone to error, but at the moment any ENSO neutral is favoured with 50 to 55% chance to be heading into northern hemisphere winter of 2017-2018. Solar activity. So the link between solar activity and weather remains controversial. There was a suggestion that colder winters are more likely to occur in the UK shortly after the solar minimum is reached. The next solar minimum is expected in 2019-2020, so although activities are on a downwards path, the minimum remains some time off. So putting it all together, at this stage there isn't a clear signal for winter 2017-2018, But recent climate favours milder than average conditions, but some of the background suggests tentatively suggesting a different outcome. Therefore, the initial view is that a chance for colder winter, at least one of bringing the risk of snow at times, is higher than it has been for several years. So generally expect nothing. It could be anything really. So we'll just see how this winter goes. So mainly, I think some computer models will suggest there will be a mild winter once again with little snow to talk about, although maybe the odd colder interlude, but that's it. But as we heard, the likelihood that snow affecting the UK has been higher than it has been for several years. So possibly you may see some snow across the UK throughout the months of December, January, February, probably March as well. So take this message, it's 50-50 I would say. So it's uncertain, computer models aren't agreeing with each other, so you'll have to, time will tell really, whether it will be a mild or cold or probably even average winter. We'll see in a few months' time. Alright guys, that's your answer. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, comment and subscribe, and please comment below and request for any more videos, and I'll be more than happy to do them for you. So that's what the main theme is. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you want me to do any extreme UK weather events, global weather forecasting or weather vlogging, in the description as well, just comment below. Alright, video's done, storm's now out.